Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Inept General coming to you with some Total War Warhammer news, and we've got some new patch information on the updates that will be happening to the game when the release of the Tomb King DLC comes out. There's a lot of stuff going on. Main headlines is a huge kind of reworking of Bretonnia and its research and some of its bonuses late game, as well as a huge amount of bug fixes. We're going to maybe skip over the bug fixes because that's not that much fun, but we also have a huge amount of sort of unit updates and stuff like that to get through. So without further ado, let's kick things off and let's talk about some of the updates that Bretonnia is going to be getting. Now, the reason they said that Bretonnia is getting an update in the new patch information is that late game, they feel that all the other factions, their units get bonuses, whereas because of the sparse nature of the Bretonnian research tree, they didn't have that. So they were looking to correct it. So what they let us know was this, effectively. Now, I hope you guys can make out, but there are a couple of white boxes around some of these different areas. Now, all the way over to the right-hand side of this image, all of that is new. Those last two columns, all new research stuff that will probably give bonuses to units. For example, we found out in the bottom right hand corner there, you can see steel furnaces. We know that's an 8 armor boost for knights. Hay stores, I believe, was less construction time for farms and pastures and stuff like that. Sorry guys, excuse me. And obviously, with the sewer cleaning decree and the desert purge decree, that will give Bretonnia the race bonuses it would have against all the other factions in the game, but apply it to Skaven and apply it to the Tomb Kings as well. So I'm assuming that maybe Forest Decree might just give, they might tweak that to give a bonus versus all the elves, or maybe not, because the elves are kind of good guys and they want to leave it at that. So that's what we're getting for Bretonnia. The legendary lords for all the old factions are also getting a bit of a tweak. They are, as you can see here, Karl Franz is getting +10 diplomatic relationships with Empire provinces and +2 leadership. Azag, 15% aura size, +8% aura effect. Grimgor, another bonus for the Black Orcs in his army, armor bonus for the Black Orcs in his army. Fulgrim, aura size, much like Azag. And Archeon, the 10% physical resistance for Chaos Knights units in the army. That's a really good one, I like that one. And 25% raising income. Now, the Bretonnian Legendary Lords also got a little bit of a boost in this update, in the form of new skills. So I'm not sure, we weren't really told what these do, but we are getting new skills. For example, with Albrecht de Bordelot, we can see that he has shipping lanes. That will be some kind of bonus to shipping, which I think he already has, but we'll have to see exactly how that shapes up in his new upgrade tree. But good to see Bretonnia getting a little bit of love, just to try and keep them up to date with all the new factions in the game. So that's kind of it for Legendary Lords. Let's go on to kind of the unit balancing, kicking things off with the Beastmen, Bestigors, plus 50% MP cost, -1 melee defense, Ungor Herd, -1 leadership, +1 CB, I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head, I'm trying to think quickly, it doesn't matter. Ungor Spearman, -1 hit point. That seems bizarre. It's such a minor change. I'm not sure what that is about. Leadership, -1 for the Ungor shields, short swords with spears. Goreherd getting a boost. Goreherd with shields also getting a boost. Same boost that the Goreherd got. Centaurs being brought down a little bit with their hit points. Centaurs, great weapons. Attacks, reduces inconsistent power spikes in some matchups. Remove splash damage attacks. Well, that's a bit rubbish. The Centaurs don't have a lot going for them. The splash attack was really one of the things that could help them out. Manticore speeded up his attack time, which made them a little bit more effective. Razorgore Herd, a little bit of a boost as well. The Giant, 410 HP. I think Giants are getting a boost all round. I think Chaos have that as well, getting later. And Kazarak costs a little bit less to field because he's an okay Legendary Lord, but he's not one of the best. Bretonnia, huge amount of stuff for Bretonnia, as one might expect with this kind of big Bretonnia update. Or most melee infantry, bonus to health. I think that's health, HP. It has to be, right? Maybe I'm just going off on something there. Men-at-Arms, -25% cost. Shield Men-at-Arms, -25 cost. Peasant Bowman, -50 cost. -2 regular projectile damage. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Peasant Bowman downgraded a little bit, but given an armor piercing bonus instead. Knights Errant, a bit of a boost. Questing Knights, kind of a couple of changes all around, giving them a bit more AP, a bit more damage. Slowing down their attacks, I'm guessing? The plus and minus with attack interval, I'm not sure if it's speeding up or slowing down. I'm going to guess the minus is speeding up, because that's the attack interval, is a gap between attacks. So it's slowing down how quickly the Questing Knights can attack by a little bit. Grail Guardians brought down. That's surprising. I wouldn't have thought that the regular damage for Grail Guard needs to be brought down, but they've been given an armor boost instead. And they've been slowed down as well, the Great Guardians. Interesting. I wonder, yeah. A strange little tweak there. I'm not exactly sure why. I haven't played as much Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer as I did 1, but there may be some sort of meta issues with the Grail Knights and Grail Guardians. Pegasus has had an increase in its mass. Pegasus 10 plus 10 ground speed, so when they're going along the ground they can get a bit quicker. Royal Hippogriff Knights, plus 2, I think that's magic damage, melee defense maybe, melee defense, plus 2 melee defense, -4 regular damage, plus 9 armor piercing. Trebuchet, increase in accuracy and explosion damage. That's pretty good. Plus 5 explosion damage, armor piercing damage, sorry. So yeah, Trebuchet is getting a bit of a boost. Artillery crews of the Trebuchet is getting a boost as well, as it's the only piece of artillery that the Bretonnians have. The Green Knight, now armor piercing. So the Green Knight's been given armor piercing, but his base damage has been brought down 150. That's pretty huge. But he does been given a plus 120 armor piercing damage. -40 armor. And the Dolorous Blade has been redesigned to synergize with the armor piercing damage profile. And he's been made cheaper. That's a bit of a bummer. Why make the Green Knight should be kick-ass? It's a bit strange. Anyway. Hippogriff for Luan costs a bit more. Ulbrich, plus 3 melee attack for him. And the Bretonnian Paladin, -25 cost reduction, -75 cost reduction. Making Paladins cheaper, so we might see the return of Paladin spam for Bretonnia if it ever went away at all. Chaos, the Chosen get a bonus. Chaos Warriors, is everything in Chaos getting a bonus? Chosen Halberds, Chaos Knights, Marauders cost less, plus 2 melee defense. -1 regular damage for Chaos Knights, but they make up for it in the armor piercing. Gorbeast Chariots, 2 plus 2 melee attack, plus 2 melee defense. Hell Cannon, reworked homing missile parameters, higher accuracy, -15% ammo, roughly -20% reload time and damage. What? So you made it fire more often, you made it more accurate, fire more often, do less damage, and take less time to reload, and gave it less ammunition. Okay. The inconsistent damage output for this weapon was very fitting for the faction, but not the most fun to play with. More shots per minute, higher accuracy, and less damage make it a bit more predictable while reducing the benefit of using manual fire mode. Okay, manual fire might have been a bit OP with the cannon, but it was kind of fun. That bums me out a little bit, but I suppose in a match, in a multiplayer match, you're never going to really want to go into manual. Well, you can at the beginning, but it reduces the bonus of being able to do that. Kind of interesting. A weird tweak. Maybe they're just trying to stop people going into manual firing mode all the time with the Hell Cannon. That'd be my guess. Yeah, interesting. Interesting tweak there. The Manticore, -100 cost, but bonus to everything else. Made it a quicker attack time. And Dragon Ogres, bonus to leadership, bonus to melee defense. Kolek and Dragon Ogre Shagoffs get a bit of a debuff. Kolek Sun Eater costs another 100. Giants, 410. We've seen that across the board. Dragon Mounts, plus 100. I think that's happened in other places as well. Archeon on foot. Plus 15 base damage, nice to see. Plus 35 armor piercing damage. Plus 2 splash attack targets. Okay, that's good to see that Archeon's getting a bit of a boost because he was kind of underpowered, at least when it came to just a straight out slugfest in a fight. His horse, plus 15 base damage, plus 35 armor piercing, plus 2 splash attacks, plus 328 health. Nice. Sigvald, plus 40 base damage, plus 220 armor piercing damage, plus 248 health, and 100 extra cost. Sigvald, one of my favorite legendary lords. Lovely to see him get a bonus. Yeah, looking forward to having him back on the battlefield. Chaos Lords, all of them, plus 20 base damage, plus 20 armor piercing damage, plus 5 health, plus 100 cost. All round, kind of a bit of a buff. Except for the Hell Cannon, which might turn out bad in the end run, particularly against AI, when you could just destroy AI with it. But on the whole, it looks like Chaos is getting a buff all around. Dark Elves, plus 50 cost for Blackheart Corsairs, Shades, Witch Elves, Poison Speed debuff, reduction minus 20%. So, okay, what this is that the speed of slowdown of Witch Elf Poison has been lowered, so it won't have quite the same effect at slowing armies down as it had previously. The Reaper Bolt Thrower can move a bit quicker, given a bit more range. The Cold One Dread Knights, plus 4 melee defense. War Hydra, plus 100 HP, that's pretty good. And another takes its place, plus 1 maximum use. So you can replace that. Okay, you get another use for that skill. Dreadlord's Pegasus Mount, cost reduced by 50. It's weird if the Dark Pegasuses don't get the same... Unless that's something, that's a setting they changed from Total War Warhammer 2 to from Total War Warhammer 1. Because the Pegasus for the Bretonnian Knights got a mass increase as well. So it's whether the Dark Pegasus will maybe have less mass than the normal Pegasus. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. And, yeah, Marathi, her mount has been reduced by 50. Malekith, increased cost 150. He is pretty solid. His Dragon Mount, and Dragon Mount's plus 100. We've seen that before. The Dwarves, Longbeards, getting taken down, minus 2 HP, plus given more mass. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because I like charging into Dwarves and have them go flying all over the place. That's a great bit of fun. And increasing their mass will stop that from happening a little bit. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, minus 2 melee defense. Ironbreakers, all of them, plus 2 HP, plus 2 armor piercing, plus 70 mass. Rangers, minus 2 melee defense, and acceleration. I mean, add plus acceleration. So they just accelerate a bit quicker. I'm guessing that's what that means. There is a comma after the minus 2 melee defense. Bugman's Rangers, plus 4 melee attack, plus 4 HP, and charge defense versus large. Did they not have that already? Maybe not. Acceleration and plus 10 mass. Iron Drakes, minus 100 cost, or MP cost. Increased accuracy with the Brimstone Gyrocopters. I am completely on board with that. As an anti-large tool, for me, they've always been largely ineffective. If something's standing still, and they can get in behind something big, they're pretty good. But if it's on the move, they can't do much damage to it. So good to see the accuracy going up. Gyro Bomb and Skyhammer, plus 10 ground speed. Clattergun rebalanced. Now it is a small cannon shooting small explosives, improving performance versus infantry. That's pretty good. Skyhammer, plus 50, minus 5 reload time, I'm guessing that is. Slight reduction to accuracy. Okay, Grudge Thrower, accuracy increased, explosion damage, kind of similar to the Trebuchet. Organ Gun, plus 100 cost. You made it more expensive and less accurate. That's a bit of a bummer. Flame Cannon, still trying to make it viable in the game, plus 30 range, plus 10 explosion, armor piercing damage, projectile tweaks. Interesting to see. Thane, plus 50 cost. Okay, so almost everything in the infantry for the Dwarves have been given plus 20 mass. Does that mean 20 mass on top? So if we're looking at the Longbeards, does that mean they're getting plus 60 mass overall in this update? So flying around, Dwarves flying around, maybe something of the past, unfortunately. All Artillery Crew, plus 2 hit points. Rune Lord, plus 50 cost. Empire, Flagellants, getting a bonus to melee attack. Less damage though, cost a bit more. Tattersouls, the Regiment of Renown of the Flagellants, getting a melee attack, kind of the same thing, but costing a bit more. And Halberds, armor piercing damage, greatswords, boost to greatswords with melee attack. Crossbows, projectile damage, extra. Empire Knights, a bit of reduction, but of a boost to their performance, cost a bit less. Reichsguard, lower damage but increased armor piercing. That seems to be kind of a theme for this update. A lot of units getting lower damage and more armor piercing. Demigryph Lances getting a bit of a boost. Demigryph with Halberds. Minus lowered bonus versus large, but a bit of a boost to their hit points. Pistoliers, +1 missile damage. It still won't make them that viable. Outriders, slight increase to firing arc. Okay, great. +1 projectile, armor piercing damage. Outrider, +2. Oh, armor. Okay, good stuff. Grenade launchers getting a bit of a boost, make them a bit more useful. Projectile damage on the grades is a secondary factor as most of the damage comes from the explosion. The damage buff here merely improves the overall damage output against larger unarmored targets, making the unit a bit more versatile. Interesting. Mortar, a bit cheaper, bit quicker reload, and made it more accurate. Oh, interesting. Hellblaster, fire animation duration rate reduced, and projectile rebalance and read strong buff. What? +2 speed. Okay, so they're essentially boosting the Hellblaster cannon. Hellstrom, +2 speed. Steam Tank, +15 damage, +25 armor piercing. Slowed it down a bit. +12 charge speed and 15-meter charge distance. Interesting. So they slowed it down except when it's going for an enemy, and then it'll get a bit quicker. Luminarch of Hysh, -100 cost. That's a bonus. Particularly useful against some of the larger units we're seeing increasingly in the game. All artillery crew, a little bit of a buff. Empire Wizards, mounts reduced cost. Empire General, costs of mounts reduced. Boris Todbringer, Pegasus cheaper. Although thematically, he shouldn't really be on a Pegasus. Anyway, Karl Franz on foot, Pegasus, armor piercing damage, -20 base damage. Again, seeming to follow that trend of a lot more damage, but a lot less damage, but a lot more armor piercing. Karl Franz on Deathclaw, +55 armor piercing damage, -15 base damage. High Elves, White Lions, +1 regular damage, -1 armor piercing damage. The opposite of what we've been seeing everywhere else. The High Elf Archers, they turned down the accuracy. Of all the things that High Elf Archers have, accuracy should not be one of their problems. Silver Helms, +1 HP. Dragon Princes, +50 MP cost. Great Eagle, -31 regular damage, +31 armor piercing damage, 4 melee attack, +2 melee defense. Great Eagle, similar kind of thing. The Filmal Chariot, +2, bit of a boost. Small one, but a bit of a boost. +2 speed, plus all bolt throwers seem to have had an increase in range. Dragon mounts, again, we've seen that before, +100 cost. Lizardmen Skinks. You know what? Yeah, that's definitely true. Whenever I play Chameleon Skinks, I always think, you know what? These guys are too good at melee defense. So yeah, definitely needed there. Croxagores gets a bonus versus large. Horned ones get an increase in speed and melee defense. Vivification gets -3 cast. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you guys like the vivification thing. I think the cooldown is too long, and it makes it a bit of a pain. I wouldn't have minded reducing the amount you can cast it if they reduced the cooldown as well. Pterodon, +10 ground speed. Carnosaur, mass hitbox size, less mass for the Carnosaur, which is weird. Plus hitbox size has been increased, and then +0.2 attack interval. So it's slower, debuff for the Carnosaur, huge debuff. It's easier to hit. It does less damage or disruption in the charge, and it's slower to attack. And then the Skink Chief gets less blowpipe ammunition. Oh, all right, fair enough, fair enough. Krotgar, reduced missile resistance to 15%. Okay, that's not great. -5 armor, again a debuff. Looks like a bit of a debuff for a lot of the Lizardmen. Krotgar on foot, although once he gets on a mount, he's a bit better. Just Grimlock has got a debuff, as with all Carnosaurs, I'm guessing. Anyway, Krotgar on foot, +7 bonus versus large, +50 cost, +5 health. Old Blood Carnosaur, -5 armor. Saurus Old Blood on the cold one, better, +50 cost, +5% health. Scar Veteran on a Carnosaur, -2 charge burn. So apparently Carnosaurs were OP. So Carnosaurs all been turned down a little bit. Cold ones all been turned up a little bit. Scar Veteran base damage, -150. That's gotta hurt. +130 armor piercing damage, -5 bonus versus large. Overall, I think for the Lizardmen, a bit of a debuff. particularly when it comes to their Carnosaurs. Looks like they wanted to make all Carnosaurs a bit worse, make all Cold One Riders a bit better. Greenskins, Orc Boy, not a lot of changes here. Orc Boys, increase in melee attack, decrease in melee defense, 2 leadership, Arachnarok Spider, a bit cheaper, and missile ranged increase. Giant 410, we've seen that before. Accuracy for the Rock Lobber improved. All artillery crew, a few more hit points. Grimgore Ironhide, plus 5 armor, plus 60 armor piercing melee damage, minus 10 base damage. And the Orc Shaman is a bit cheaper on his boar. Wood Elves, a good number of changes for the Wood Elves, it looks like. Durfu, oh sorry, I'm skipping well ahead. Some minor changes, melee attack up and down 1 or 2 points. Ammo, plus 2, removed from magical attacks. Plus 2 ammo for Glade Guard, that's interesting. Such a minor change. Anyway, plus 2 speed, plus 3 hit points. Swift Silver, the Scouts, minus 5 range. That's a bit of a bummer. They're a great little unit. Way Watchers, minus 1 reload speed. Minus 1 second reload speed even. And projectile speed. So their arrows go slower? Alright. Oh, increase in projectile speed, plus projectile speed, so the arrows go a bit quicker. Glade Riders, removed magical attacks from the regiments of renowned Glade Riders there, it looks like. Great Eagle, we've seen Eagles, I think it's the same thing that happened with the High Elves. Hawk Riders, plus 10 ground speed, increased mass, lower reload speed, and yeah, a bit of a bonus there for their health as well. Sister of the Thorn, plus 8 models, okay, interesting, minus 12 HP, plus 1 regular damage, plus 50 cost. Treekin, minus 3 regular damage, plus 6 armor piercing, and 15% missile resistance. I think that's alright, that's good. That's a bit of a buff for the Treekin. Charge defense versus large, exchange for charge defense versus all for the Treemen. That's pretty good. That's always a huge buff. Minus 30 regular damage, plus 30 armor piercing, plus 15 missile resist. Okay, I'd say overall that's a buff for the Treemen. The Ancient Treemen, same kind of thing, is it? Defense versus all, 21 regular damage, 21 armor piercing, and 5 leadership. Huge bonus to health. So Durfy got the bonus to health as well. Female Glade Lord on Forest Dragon, more missile resistance. Glade Lords all cost a bit more. Vampires. Cairn Wraiths, plus 4 CB. Hellsteeds, plus 10 ground speed. And Black Knights, melee attack increase, and sped up their attacks a little bit. Bit of a boost for them. Verex Reavers, bit of a boost. Hex Wraiths, quicker. Vargeist, quicker on the ground. A lot of these flying units have been given a bit of a ground speed buff as well. So I think overall themes for the updates so far has been less regular damage, more armor piercing damage, and flying units can escape a little bit easier when they're locked in combat on the ground. But Vargulfs get plus 20 damage, plus 40 armor piercing damage. They're slower to attack. They have minus 5 CB, and they have plus 2 melee attack, plus 4 melee defense, and plus 50 MP cost. Cost less, cycle charge micro. Fewer but stronger attacks per minute make the Vargulfs less susceptible to loss of vigor. So overall, kind of a boost for the Vargulf. Corpse Cart, minus 100 MP cost. Graveguard, plus 3 CB. I'm guessing that's charge bonus, actually. Sorry, it's taking me this long in the video to actually put that together. Terrorgeist, it might not be that. I have no idea. Terrorgeist, plus 15 breath attack damage, plus 100 cost. And the abilities have all been tweaked a little bit. I'm not going to go through this because I think this video is already actually a bit long. But yeah, Grombador rebalanced as a tier 2 ability for its flash bomb. Effigy of the Git. Uses have been tweaked for a lot of stuff. Tempest now reduces speed by 72% rather than a can't move effect. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. Tempest I barely use, but it could be handy in times if you stop it moving, but now it just slows them down greatly. Yes, Net of Amantok has effect radius removed. Upgraded now on Net of Amantok adds plus 30% effect radius instead of doubling the duration. So now Net of Amantok, I think, if the radius is removed, I don't know what that means. I think it might mean that you can only use it on a single unit. So you have to double upgrade, you have to overcast Net of Amantok to get the ability we've known it to do for so long. Kind of a, okay, that's a kind of a huge change though. That kind of almost, that hugely affects the amount of times Law of Light will be picked up, I think, if you have to overcast Net of Amantok to have it have a radius of effect. Mark of Cornflakes changed to common, cost reduction to 81. Okay, I'm guessing that's a joke. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Anyway, apart from that, just you guys can have a look at this list. A few changes. I think that Net of Amantok thing is pretty big. Adjustability size. Yeah, I think that Net of Amantok is probably the biggest thing there. So that's about it, really. So a huge update. It's going to be massive. Looking forward to seeing some of those changes. It looks like overall the themes for this update have been less overall damage, more armor piercing damage, ground units sped up, flying units sped up a bit when they're on the ground to let them get away. Things that have been kind of looked at the most, it looks like the Vargulf, the Hell Cannon, the Steam Tank have all been kind of looked at in the way they play and changed fairly significantly. So we'll have to wait and see what those changes look like. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of an update. It was a little bit boring at times, I apologize. It was just going through a big list. But overall, good to see Bretonnia getting a boost in their research. Stuff like that. Fantastic to see them getting revisited. Yeah, so as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to catch you all in the next one.